Welcome to Edulution 2.0. Edulution was originally created as an answer to the COVID-19 pandemic when the world went remote and students lost their opportunity to be in the classroom. To help prevent students from falling behind, Edulution filled the gap for those who didn't have Wi-Fi or technology. Edulution has supported the community for over 2 years, filling the educational divide through equity and access, ensuring that all students have a fair chance to learn and succeed in life. Our host is Ms. Pia Rosa, a Bronx-born and raised educator with a heart for her community. Let's start the show.
Hi everyone, happy summer. Wishing you the best during this time. We have a great show ahead. Enjoy.
Hello boys and girls, my name is Miss Hudson and today we're going to look at a story and talk about plot and character development. The way we're going to do this is by reviewing our vocabulary, read and reread the story, and record how the protagonist reacted in the beginning, middle, and end. But what does that mean, beginning, middle, and end? So let's find out.
There are 5 basic elements that make up a story. Plot is one of those 5 basic elements. The plot is a term for the main events in the story. The main events happen in a certain order, and so the plot is sometimes also referred to as the storyline. Looking at it more closely, the plot can be further broken down into 5 parts. It's helpful to imagine those 5 parts as a roller coaster ride. The first part of the plot is called the exposition. The exposition is simply the beginning of the story. Here, the author introduces the characters and establishes the setting. The next part is the rising action. This is where the conflict of the story is revealed. During the rising action, the main character encounters some sort of problem that creates tension, such as when the wolf blows down the little pig's house. The climax is the next part of the plot. It is the most exciting part of the story and the point where there is a change in the direction of the story and its course of events. In The 3 Little Pigs, this would be when the wolf gets frustrated and tries to enter the brick house through the chimney. The next part is the falling action. It occurs right after the climax. The tension from the conflict starts to decrease and the story events wind down or settle toward an end. The falling action in The 3 Little Pigs is when the wolf lands in the hot soup pot and gets burned. The last part of the plot is the resolution. Here, the problem of the story is solved and the story ends. In The 3 Little Pigs, this is when the wolf runs away and disappears into the forest.
Created using Powtoon.
Okay guys, so when we talk about the beginning, we're talking about that introduction. Just like the video said, we're talking about our characters, our setting. It's setting us up for what that story is going to be about. When we talk about the middle, we're talking about the climax, the most exciting part of the story. Like that's where all the problem takes place. And then when we talk about the end, the resolution, how did that problem get solved? So today we're going to be looking at our story in terms of the beginning, middle, and end. But don't forget, we said we're going to look at how our character develops. How does that character change throughout the story? So the first thing we would do is look at how the characters were in the beginning. Then we would look at how that character was in the middle, and then look at the character how they were at the end. So if you look at our example here, we will see that in the beginning that the animals thought Miss Wishy-Washy was mean and didn't like baths. But how did that character change? So by the end, the animals loved Miss Wishy-Washy and missed their baths. So we could see how they started thinking one way about the character and then they thought another way about the character. So they themselves, the pigs, their thoughts changed, their character changed. So let's look at a quick vocabulary and then we're going to go into our lesson. So when we talk about tracking the character, we talk about following that character. What's going on with that character? How is that character feeling? What are the character's opinions about the situation? And just to revise plot is just the main events that happens from the beginning to the end of the story. And our climax, as I said before, where the problem takes place, the most exciting part of the story, and our resolution, like we said, is where the problem gets fixed. So if you think about the plot in terms of a little roller coaster or a mountain, then you'd see the beginning, things are a little slow and then it picks up. Then you have all the action at the top of the mountain, things start to die down a little, and then the problem gets solved. So let's look at a story and try to see how we could separate it into beginning, middle, and end. So the story we're going to look at today is a pretty short story. It's called Hercules and the Wagner. So now remember, the first thing we're going to do is, now that we've reviewed our vocabulary, we're going to read the story once and then read it again and try to divide it into beginning, middle, and end. So a farmer was driving his wagon along a mirror country road after a heavy rain. The horses could hardly drag the load through the deep mud, and at last came to a standstill when one of the wheels sank to the hub in a rut. The farmer climbed down from his seat and stood beside the wagon, looking at it but without making the least effort to get it out of the rut. All he did was to curse his bad luck and called loudly on Hercules to come to his aid. Then it is said Hercules really did appear, saying, "Put your shoulder to the wheel, man, and urge on your horses." Do you think you can move the wagon by simply looking at it and whining about it? Hercules will not help unless you make some effort to help yourself. And when the farmer put his shoulder to the wheel and urged on the horses, the wagon moved very readily, and soon the farmer was riding along in a great content and with a good lesson learned. So, let's see if we could break this up. So I already got the ball rolling. So the beginning, which is the introduction, let's look at it. So this is our introduction. So the farmer got stuck on a muddy country road. It's just what happened, right? So let's see if we can move on to the middle of the story. Don't forget, the middle is where all the drama is happening, right? So what's happening in the middle of the story? What is that problem that's taking place? So the farmer asked Hercules to help him, and Hercules told him that he needed to do it himself. So the reason I chose this as the main part is because the problem is, yes, his wagon got stuck in the mud, but the problem is he and Hercules are not agreeing on how to solve that problem, right? So let's see what happened in the end. End of our story, which would be this last paragraph. The farmer was able to solve. What were they able to solve? Tell me. Excellent. They were able to solve the conflict. How did they do that? So they were able to solve the conflict of being stopped or stuck. That's a better word, stuck in the mud by pushing the wheel out of the mud. So in the beginning, the farmer got stuck on the muddy country road. Then the farmer asked Hercules to help him, and Hercules tell him, I'm not going to help you. You need to do it yourself. And then at the end, the farmer actually did it himself, and he pushed his wagon, and it came out of the mud, right? So when we talk about the beginning, middle, and end, that is what we're talking about. How did that problem get solved? By him pushing it out of the muddy road. So now let's look at tracking that character. How did the farmer, who is the protagonist, the main character in the story, how did he feel at the beginning, middle, and end of the story, right? So if we looked, we could see that in the beginning, when the wagon was stuck in the mud. So in the beginning, the farmer was annoyed that his wheel was stuck. As with anybody, right? In the middle, the farmer became frustrated and called Hercules to help him. Don't forget, in the middle, that's when he's trying to get Hercules to help him out. So he was frustrated. So let's highlight that. First, the farmer was annoyed. His wheel got stuck. Then he was frustrated because Hercules wouldn't help him. But by the end, let's see what happened. So since the farmer pushed his wagon himself and he didn't get help from Hercules, how do you think that made him feel? So the farmer was proud of himself because he was able to push the wheel. So when we talk about tracking the character, we're talking about how does the character feel in the beginning, how does the character feel in the middle, how does the character feel at the end, right? So in this case, our character went from being annoyed to being frustrated and to being proud of himself. So let's look at our 6th grade question. So the question is, how did the farmer change throughout the story? So if we look at our notes from before, it's right there for us, right? So let's see if we could come up with a nice answer. In this story, Hercules and the Wagner, the farmer changed from, we said he was annoyed in the beginning because his wheel was stuck in the mud. But by the middle, the farmer became, what did the farmer become? What did we say the farmer became? Right you are. He became frustrated because Hercules would not help him. Could you believe very powerful God called Hercules and Hercules is not helping him? So then, of course, he was frustrated. He wants his wheel moved. But, so let's say by the end, the farmer, who's the protagonist, so the farmer, how did the farmer feel at the end? We said it before. I'll give you a few seconds to try to remember. That's right. By the end, the farmer was proud of himself. Why was he proud of himself? Because, why was he proud of himself, boys and girls? That's right. Because he pushed the wheel out himself. So let's recap. So how did the farmer change throughout the story? Or how did the farmer's character develop, right, throughout the story? In the story, Hercules and the Wagner, the farmer changed from annoyed in the beginning because his wheel was stuck in the mud. But by the middle of the story, I left that part out. We make mistakes. But by the middle of the story, the farmer became frustrated because Hercules would not help him. By the end, the farmer was proud of himself because he pushed the wheel out himself. So guys, let's recap. So if we're talking about how does a character change throughout the story, right? We're talking about how that character started in the beginning and then how that character ended, how that character became at the end, right? So quick recap. Let's go back. We always need to make sure that we separate our plot. So our plot, what happens in the beginning, middle, and end. And then we kind of match that with how our character feels or how our character reacts in each part of the story. And that is how we will figure out, going back to our learning target, how our character develops. Don't forget, guys, we have to make sure we track our plot, track our character, and that is how we know how our character changes, and how our character develops. Thank you guys for being with me. I will see you next time. Bye.
Oh, hi there. I hope these teachings have been doing something for you. Whether it's a subject that interests you or not, I encourage you to stay proactive in improving your education and insight about the world.
Biomimicry is the design of new technologies based on ideas found in nature. Today, we will be looking at a few items around your home that have similar functions to plant and animal parts. We'll be right back to talk more about biomimicry after this commercial break. Do you ever walk into a room that smells of sweaty socks and dirty laundry? Overwhelmed by the stench? Introducing Air Freshener. Bring the outside in with this floral spray. You'll be dancing around the room in a make-believe field of wildflowers. But wait, there's more. Air freshener smells copy those found in nature by either using real plant extracts or chemicals that smell just like the real thing. Have you ever tried to drink water straight from a cup? Do you struggle with pouring water all over yourself every time you take a sip? Do you need water to live but are rooted to your seat and don't have the ability to move? Well, then this next copy from nature is just what you need. Introducing reusable straws. Water can move from the bottom of the cup through the tube and up to your mouth without you lifting a finger. But wait, there's more. Plant stems have small tubes inside that move water and nutrients throughout the plant. These tubes are called xylem and phloem, and they are nature's natural straws. Do you struggle with having a way to pick up your lunch? Are you sick of having to faceplant into your bowl of food? Introducing utensils, like chopsticks and spoons. Now you can pick up your food with ease. Each utensil has a different shape that makes it easier to pick up different foods. But wait, there's more. Birds use their beaks to collect food too. Different beaks are better at picking up different types of food. Do you struggle with ripping meat, vegetables, and other foods into bite-sized pieces? Nature is here to help. Introducing knives. Cut cabbage and other foods in seconds. The sharp edges of this knife are designed to give you the ability to break down foods. But wait, there's more. The teeth of the knife are similar in shape to the sharp teeth of some animals. These predators use their sharp teeth to attack and catch their prey in the wild. Do you struggle with tying your shoes? Are knots not your thing? Do the loops and crosses get all mixed up? Introducing Velcro. No more buttons, zippers, or laces needed. Tying your shoe is a thing of the past with this biomimicry invention. That's right. A scientist based the design for Velcro on the sticky burrs that get stuck to animal fur. The hooks on the burrs ensure that the plant seeds can move from place to place by hitching a ride on animals. We've all had it happen. You're walking around, playing games on your phone, when suddenly it slips from your hands. We rush to our phones and find that our day is completely ruined. The phone is destroyed. Don't let this happen to you. Get the Turtly Awesome phone case. Your phone will thank you for protecting its fragile body with this phone case. But wait, there's more. Animals need protection too, so some have shells. With a hard shell on the outside, predators have a harder time making them a meal. Now it's your turn to be an engineer. Think of how you can copy something in nature to create a new invention. Draw or create a model of your design and write about what in nature inspired you.
Be sure to check out our website to watch this video again and see even more videos and activities. OmniLearnSTEM.com. Hope to see you there.
Would you like to hear a story? I remember when I graduated high school, one of the toughest decisions that I had to make was selecting a college to go to. I couldn't decide whether I wanted to leave New York City and go to a different state to continue my studies or stay at home. A part of me wanted to start a new chapter, but then the other side was being close to my family. I love my family so much and I didn't want to be away from them. Ultimately, I decided to stay in New York City so that way I can be closer to my family and friends while still pursuing my dreams of becoming an educator.
Last night you were in my room, and now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. Well, I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your...
Hello everybody, this is Mr. Martinez, and this week I got a challenge for you. You need your basketball, and following the beat of this song, you gotta echo my rhythmic patterns. It's very easy if you count 1, 2, 3, 4 and read on the screen the rhythms. I hope you get ready and get the challenge. Just warm up, and here we go. 1, 2, here we go.
Yo no sé de poesía ni de filosofía, solo sé que tu vida yo la quiero en la mía. Yo no sé cómo hacer para no tenerte la gana que te tengo, cómo hacer para no quererte, yeah. No hay un sustituto para ese cuerpo tuyo que a mí ya me tiene cucu. En un rato te busco, voy y te acurruco, yeah. No hay nadie como tú, porque no hay nadie como tú. No hay nadie como tú, no hay nadie como tú. Estamos online como YouTube, conectados como Bluetooth. Si me dejas yo soy la aguja de tu muñeca vudú. Yo te quiero pa' mí. Si me dice que sé, me muero y me desmuero solo por ti. Porque yo me acurruco solo contigo. Pongamos el aire en 16 pa' morirnos de frío. Y vente pa'l lado mío, que mis besitos de pronto te sirven de abrigo. ¿Cómo hacer pa' no quererte? Yeah. Tú, nadie como tú. No hay un sustituto para ese cuerpo tuyo que a mí ya me tiene cucu. En un rato te busco, voy y te acurruco, yeah. No hay nadie como tú, porque no hay nadie como tú, yeah. No hay nadie como tú, no hay nadie como tú, porque yo me acurruco solo contigo. Pongamos el aire en 16, vamos a morir.
enjoyed your company so much today. See you at another time on another episode of Edulution.
The Bronx Edulution. We are Bronx Strong.